Hello traders, today is Monday, October 28th, 2024. I'm gonna go over 14 different names today. Keep in mind, this content is for entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice. I strongly recommend you do your own due diligence and research before you risk any of your capital into stocks or any type of investments. Let's start this video with Apple. And it's been an interesting day for Apple today. It actually had a nice run in the beginning of the trading session. You can see this on the 5-minute. You had this gap right at open. Actually, let's go to the 3 or let's go to the 1. You had that gap at open, nice big candle, and then you had a dip. This is very common in Apple. I normally, when I day trade Apple, I wait for this kind of reversals right in the beginning, and then once the stock actually comes down, I then take, in this case would have been a long position, so I would buy calls, and then I try to ride, in this case I would probably ride over resistance or maybe see how it behaves on the 35 SMA, and then continue. I would probably get out in this area right here. Anyways, that being said, Apple was interesting today in the sense that it had a nice move to the upside. I mean, after this, and then you went down again towards this support level, which is looking like it's consolidating a little bit on this support level, which is a good thing. Now you have earnings coming up. Let's go to the daily. You have earnings coming up, I think, on Thursday or Wednesday. Thursday. Okay. So one of the reasons why we moved a little bit to the upside today and towards resistance, maybe now support at 233. Let me confirm that. Yeah, 233 is because of the unveiling of the new computer with AI chips and this all AI crap. Anyways, interesting how it moved. I would love to see this moving a little bit higher before earnings. I don't think, and this is just my opinion, earnings are going to be very enticing for investors, which means that we're probably going to see a drop towards 225. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I'm just basing my opinion on sales of the Apple 16, and unless they have something very interesting to unveil and some interesting guidance, I don't believe that we're going to actually get if that doesn't happen, I don't think the market is going to be impressed. So keep an eye on that. Maybe we continue mount this level, which is support resistance right now. It's basically at the same area. This is a doji candle right here, and we'll see how we behave tomorrow towards 237, and we'll see what happens on earnings. So that's what I have for Apple. Let's move on to AFRM. And mentioning AFRM for a while, I think the setup is still consistent with what I was saying. There is a couple of possibilities here. You go back down to 40 and then range between 40 and 45. That is very possible right before earnings. Now, keep in mind, PayPal is reporting tomorrow, and SoFi, and there might be a little bit of if they do well, that might push this stock a little bit towards 45 or maybe beyond that. So keep that in mind. You're right under the 35 SMA, which is this line, green line right here. You're right under resistance at 42.5, which is a critical level, as I mentioned before, when we were in this area, and then when we were in this area as well. Basically, this whole move right here, I've been talking about 42.5. This area is very critical. If we break 40, which is right here, we're going straight towards filling this gap, in my opinion. And I'm saying that because there is a lack of liquidity here. Now, earnings are probably gonna come either in line or decent, hopefully. I'd rather trade to the upside than trading to the downside. But right now, just keep in mind on the 40 level, this medium area right here at 42.5, I think we're gonna chop in this area probably. And then keep an eye on resistance at 45. It's just interesting how things are cooling down, and I think if a good catalyst, which could come tomorrow after PayPal and SoFi earnings, might propel this towards 45 and maybe beyond. And also you have the obvious catalyst, which is on November 7th. That is 10 days from now. that could actually push the stock, if earnings are good, towards 52. Easy. I think that could totally happen. Let's move on to the next stock, and that would be Amazon. I was taking a look at Amazon early in the morning. I basically traded. Well, I didn't trade. I was looking at stocks in the morning, and then I had to bail and do some other things. But I did like what I was seeing in the beginning of the day on Amazon, which was this gap at opening. And then you had, I think on the 1 minute, you see it better, you had these moves that were, well, this was chop, and then you got this rebound on the 35 SMA, and this is what I was looking. And after this, I just, I got busy and I had other things to do. But anyways, it was choppy during the day, and then you had a little bit of a sell-off towards closing. You still went up 0.30%, which is basically flat. But let's go to the 1 hour. We didn't break resistance at 190. We got rejected one more time. But now you are between, on the last 2 trading days, the resistance level at 190 and the 35 SMA. We'll see what is the behavior of the stock in the next in the following days, coming into earnings, which is also on Thursday. Thursday is gonna be wild. So I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon actually performs well or gives us very good guidance. We'll see what happens. But also, I think that is critical that we break the 190 level. I wouldn't also be surprised and we don't break this level until we get to earnings, and then that is going to be a decisive moment, as we all know, to see the direction of the stock for the next couple of weeks or so. As far as the technicals, MACD and TSI are completely neutral. RSI is the same thing. You have to break the 190 to see any kind of momentum, but for now, the most critical catalyst, which is pretty obvious, are earnings coming up. Let's move on to Bitcoin, and well, seems like we're getting what we were asking for. If I could actually click on the right screen. Okay. Right now, Bitcoin is at 70. What I was telling you when we were here, you need momentum. Boom, momentum, right? We lost double bottom. And then I was saying the same thing. If there is no momentum and you don't break the neckline, which is a 200 SMA in this case, don't worry about it. It's not going to go anywhere. Well, it went up, broke 67.3. Then I put this other level right here later on, which is 69. And we're breaking that again with momentum. This is very positive for crypto and crypto-related stocks. So benefit there is for Coinbase, CSLK. You also have IREN. You have Riot, Mara. All of those are moving, and they are going to continue to move as long as Bitcoin shows strength. Now, if we get to this level right here, which is 71.8, we're obviously going to hit, at that point, you're basically at all-time highs. And we'll see what happens after that. Am I one of those people who thinks Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000? I would love to see that, because I do own Bitcoin. We do have some Bitcoin. So that would be super beneficial. But as far as technicals, I want to see momentum going into 70 and see how we behave in that area. Right now, that is happening. You're up, as for the time of this video, 3%. That is great. But in the case of Bitcoin, you have to take it day by day. Anyways, I think what is important to mention is what I said about Mara, Riot, IREN, Coinbase, and pretty much every single stock that might benefit CLSK, and I don't know, all the stocks that are going to benefit from this move. Let's do, and this is working out, at least when I was looking at the stock. Let's take a look at how ENPH is behaving. And I mentioned ENPH on the 26th, which was probably Thursday. 24, no, on Saturday. Okay, so I was looking at this candle right here. But I also mentioned end phase right after earnings. So I was looking at this candle and the 4-hour chart right after this candle. Anyways, on Wednesday, you went down. What I said is like, if you go down to 73.5, there's going to be an opportunity. But if you start seeing a reversal, there is going to be an opportunity to make money. Well, today we had a pretty nice move. I was actually thinking about day trading this somewhere in this area right here. And I didn't get in. And the reason why is because I knew I had to do other things and leave my desk. And I just didn't want to deal with any type of volatility. Wait, we were actually right here. I thought I was looking at the 1 minute. I didn't want to look or deal with any volatility, during the day while I was in front of my desk. So yeah, I was looking at some type of drop. I think it was at 35 or yeah, that 325 SMA. And I was thinking about taking a day trade, but again, I knew I wasn't going to be around, so I just didn't want to deal with it. But anyways, it was up today 1%. I still think that there's going to be an opportunity here to the upside. We'll see what is the behavior of the next candle. This candle doesn't look very good, to be honest. But I think there's still time. I want to see how the MACD works. I want to see the strength of the stock on the TSI, and the RSI is already looking pretty decent. So we'll see what we get. But this pretty much worked out the way I was, I guess, thinking that there was going to be a reversal to the upside after the reaction of earnings. Anyways, let's move on to another name that I actually have calls, January calls for Google. So let's do Google. And one of the things that I was mentioning is, and we had this formation right here. And let me take a look. The symmetrical triangle. And we actually broke the trend line. And now we're moving towards resistance, which is 170. So we got rejected, and then we came down all the way to what's the price right now? 168, which is fine, but would love to see more momentum. I think if earnings are decent, let me go. If earnings are decent, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at 3 different screens. If earnings are decent, I do believe that we're definitely going to break the resistance level at 190 and continue going into 170. I'm sorry, into higher levels. Let me see, because I'm not sure. Yeah, it's 170. I don't know why I said 190, but 170. Anyways, keep an eye on this level right here. Keep an eye on the behavior of the stock. This is actually tomorrow, Tuesday, our earnings. Why didn't I see that? Let me take a look. I'm sorry, but I gotta see this because I had some notes, and I had. Okay, so tomorrow we have. Oh yeah, so tomorrow we have SoFi. I was looking at the before open. Before open, we have SoFi, PayPal, McDonald's, JetBlue, Crocs. Those are the ones that I cannot care about. And then after close, we have AMD. Had a pretty decent day today. Alphabet, Google, obviously. Then you have Snap. I don't think, by the way, there is a relationship between Snap and Meta anymore. So if Snap doesn't perform, I wouldn't be too worried about Meta. And then we have Chipotle, Visa, Reddit, and First Solar also. Interesting. Okay, so tomorrow is going to be pretty crazy after hours. And then Wednesday after hours, you have Microsoft, Meta, Coinbase, Robinhood. Ooh, I like Robinhood. Etsy, some of you are there. Carvana, Starbucks, Roku. After hours on tomorrow, this week is insane. Now, let's take a look at Thursday, since we're doing earnings. You have after hours, Amazon, Apple, Intel. That's all I care about. Before hours, you only have Uber. Peloton is also there, right? I could give 2 shits about Peloton. And then on Friday, you have ExxonMobil, Chevron, and that's all I care about, to be honest. Okay, so anyways, so you have Google tomorrow after hours. that is gonna be really interesting, let me tell you. If their earnings are good, I think we're definitely gonna go over 170. Boom, boom, boom. We're going towards this gap. That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic for me. I have calls on Google. If not, I'm gonna be crying on tomorrow's video. Okay, let's take a look at ooh, and you know what? I wanna post something about HIMS. Let's do HIMS on X. Okay, so you know, I'm super how can I put this in easy terms? But I mean, the behavior of HIMS is not surprising, but it's I should say maybe reassuring. I don't know. I love the fact that it actually came back from this move. What I was saying last time I covered HIMS is an 1877 is in play. At this point, I do believe that this range is what is in play. And it would be fantastic, which is something I also mentioned in one of my videos or a couple of videos of HIMS, that the best case scenario would be being in range between 23.5, let's say, and 21.7. That would be fantastic. Today's move was 6%. Yeah, when I was looking at HIMS in the morning, it was already up like 4%, and I was like, wow. This stock is, I don't know, it's just strong, you know. It's looking great, and it's looking great still right before earnings, you know. That's very telling. Now we'll see what is the behavior of you know, how the chart is going to look right before earnings. That's going to be important as well. But again, I do believe that the fact that we are now between 23.5, what I have here is 23.44, but 23.5 and 21.7 is a great thing. Honestly, it would be again fantastic if this slows down a little bit and stays in this range, creating more volume in this area, more liquidity and whatnot. And then at that point, when you get into earnings and you have a good decent report, if that is the case, then you can move easily towards 25.3. I do believe that if earnings are good, 25.3 is not the price target. It's gonna go through that like nothing. It's that simple. So I do have this level at 25.40 because it goes back to this level right here, which is all-time highs. So good earnings is gonna propel this stock beyond this level, all-time highs. This is doing, you know, the more I look at this chart, the more impressed I am with how this stock has behaved since it hit that 200 SMA, which is this guy right here. This was back in the mid-September, and after that, unstoppable. You know, I'm very consistent. You had a little bit of red, which was fine, and now you're seeing, you know, you had a couple of drops here because of news, and then it just took off. So I think, as I've been saying in other stocks, this what is critical is earnings. It looks good right before earnings. Earnings are coming next week, November 4th. Yes, next week, which is on Monday. Interesting. I still like HIMS. You know, and again, it would be fantastic if we stay between 21.77 and 23.5, but I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 25 before earnings. I don't know. This thing is pushing. I'm okay with the MACD and the TSI, the way they look. They are not too extended. They're looking pretty decent. The RSI is pointing up right under the signal line. That's also fine. It's not overbought. You know, again, if you see a little bit of red tomorrow or the following day, I wouldn't be too worried about it. It might actually be a good thing. Let's take a look at the 4 hour and see how this looks. Yeah, man, this looks good. All right. Anyways, that's what I have for HIMS. Congratulations if you still holding this, and if you got every single opportunity you had to buy at lower prices. You had an opportunity on the beginning of October, and you had some opportunity when you came down to the 17.2 level as well. Anyways, don't be surprised. I don't want to put this as a price target, which is 5.5, and the reason is because earnings. But if earnings weren't around, yeah, I would say like this is gonna go to all-time highs. If earnings are good, this thing is just gonna run. You might have a little bit of a reversal after that, but then this is just gonna continue going up. It's all about what the guidance come out, and let's see if they meet expectations or actually beat expectations. Would be even more interesting. Let's move on to the next name, and that would be, where are you? If I could find these things. IREN. And IREN was moving at 17.8%. Look at this. It just went. I remember when I was talking about IREN right down here, when I was saying, you know, this is gonna break this level and just start running. I guess I was a little bit too early to this on this call. I did actually buy calls somewhere in this area, right on the 200 SMA, and I got on weakness on the resistance level at 8.6. But then it went down, came back. Another example why levels are important. Came back to this level at 6.3, and then went up, broke resistance, then came down. It was right on the 200 SMA, and as soon as it got this level, at this level, on October 11th, right on the 200 SMA, you broke the 35, and then you just kept running. Today was an outstanding day for IREN. This is a very nice move. I think this can continue going up. I don't have any levels right now to the upside, maybe the neckline of this double top, but for now I'm just gonna let it be, and I just want to see how the stock is going to behave. I want to see something here. Let's get this because it's just a little bit old, and I just want to see how the stock is going to behave, or yeah, in the next few days, and then I can put other levels. I'm not gonna trade it when it gets extended like this, but I want to see if there is a reversal here towards the 10.2 level, and then at that point it is more enticing to invest, at least for my way of trading. Anyways, that's what I have for IREN. Nice, beautiful move of 17.85%. Beautiful. MACD and TSI, let's address that. They are looking beautiful. This is looking fantastic. RSI might get a little bit extended if we get a little more green, which is fine, but the MACD and the TSI are just about to get some momentum. Volume is also increasing. You are on top of all these indicators. You bounce out of the 200 SMA. This is looking beautiful. Let's hope, at least I would, if I want to, if I want to jump into this name, to go back to 1020, and then there is going to be more opportunity. But don't be surprised if this continues to run at least towards 1250 or 1260 area. That's what I have for IREN. Let's move on to another name that I mentioned quite a few times, and that is Lulu. Let me check on something really quick. Let me check on my notes, because I want to see when I started mentioning Lulu, and it wasn't that long ago, to be honest. I think I mentioned Lulu right when we were breaking this level right here, so that was in the middle of September, but I definitely talk about Lulu on October 24th. Let me. Yes, I did. And I also mentioned Lulu on November the 2nd. Okay, so I guess I was into something. No, November, I'm sorry, October 2nd, which was what? September, October 2nd. So I was talking about Lulu right on this. And then I mentioned Lulu again a few days back on the 20-something. Anyway, so we were here. What I was saying is, and this could be a retest, this behavior right here on this trend line. And then I wanted to see the reaction on the 35 SMA. So I didn't say anything until we got the second reaction on the 35 SMA. What I did say on that video on the second was that if we bounce on the 35 SMA and we break this level right here, since we were in range, and I love this kind of setups, if we break this resistance 282 and break range, we're just going to continue moving up. So that actually happened. The move actually started right here when we went down under the 35 SMA, and then buyers came back in, and then the next day, which was on Friday the 4th, you just kept going up and up and up. So if you were more into, if you take more risks when you trade, then the perfect setup was on this, comeback. And, I didn't take any moves on this, but my entry would have been here on this candle here, because at that point I'm over the 35 SMA, and then I can continue seeing this. MACD and TSI as of right now are not that extended, and there's not a lot of divergence here, which is good, but it also could be bad. You want to see a little more divergence here to see momentum, but the obvious thing that you're seeing here is, and this is moving very nicely. Now, you had on Friday, you went down to this support level at 302, and then you actually came back up today. Today you were up 1.11%. Very nice. It's not overbought. It's not overextended. As far as I can see, it would be fantastic if we retest at 302 and then continue going up. If you go over this volume shelf, it's going to be much easier for the stock to continue going up, especially towards the 200 SMA, which could be your resistance level at that point. This is looking fantastic. I'm glad I did mention this back on October the 2nd, my bad. And then I mentioned this again on the 24th, which was not that long ago. The 24th is, I was probably saying something very similar to what I'm saying now. Anyways, fantastic move. This continues. Keep an eye on support 302 or 303 if you want. And keep an eye on the volume shelf that is forming here. This is a volume profile indicator, so add that to your chart. It could be very helpful, especially when you are looking at one-day charts or weekly charts or 4-hour charts. On the 1-minute chart, it's a joke, but this kind of longer time period charts, this indicator works better. Anyways, that's it for Lulu. Let's move on to another name that I mentioned not only here, but I also did mention, if I can find it, on X. The description or the link is on the description. And God dang it. I use all the percentage of it. Okay. SoundHound. And let me take a note on this and kick myself in the forehead for not actually entering this. So I did put this on X, so I'm gonna brag on it later. But this is following. Wow, this is following the arrow that I placed exactly the way it was supposed to work. Anyways, similar to Hulu, you had this move right here, went to resistance at 5.50, came down almost to the trend line, but it actually bounced on the 35 SMA. This indicator is very useful on the 1-day chart, by the way. Well, you came back, continue going up, and today, bada bing, bada boom, 18.15% to the upside. God damn it, I'm mad because I had commitment on this one, and well, I have other positions, Google one of them, as I mentioned, and I just don't like to have or to manage a lot of positions at the same time, but this would have been a complete, absolute banger. So if you are following an X, I think I did put this on X. I did write something about it, meaning kind of like a thesis about why I think this is going to go as far as the technical levels go. This is beautiful. Now, don't be surprised, and in a couple of days, you're going to see a reversal towards resistance and maybe a continuation. But this is also a great example of lack of volume right here, lack of liquidity. And then this thing just continues to move. What a beautiful, look at this whole thing. God damn it. I really wanted to trade this thing. And, sometimes I look at a lot of great setups, and obviously I don't jump on all of them. But when I see these kind of moves, and they play exactly the way I thought they were going to play, I feel a little bit bummed for not getting into them. Anyways, contracts weren't that expensive. This was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. If you actually made money today with SOUN, I'm super happy. If you didn't, well, it's time for all of us to there's always time to get into some other names, and there's also opportunity to learn on this kind of stuff. Anyways, SOUN, beautiful move. We'll see what if we get a little bit of a reversal tomorrow or in the next few days. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but at least for today, it was a beautiful move to the upside. Let's talk about this company, which I like, but it's getting kicked really hard today, and that is TMDX. Let me take a quick note on what I just mentioned. Well, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, and then I tell you what I think. So you're down 21%, 22%, 22.5% after hours. So they missed, well, I think that the biggest miss that they had on earnings, which was after the bell, was they missed on revenue growth. That is not good. I think the market was really expecting better numbers, and obviously for that reason, you're down 22%. Now, I guess my case in this, and let's get back to what I think about this company. This company is doing something really good, in my opinion. I think they're still in track to achieve 10,000 organ transplants. And what they do, they have these machines that prolong the life of the organ after it's, I guess, removed from the donor. And it's a beautiful thing, because that means that livers, lungs, hearts have a longer lifespan away from the original host, I guess the person who is donating the organ, and it allows to more time for the organ maybe to be transported, or maybe whatever transition. I have no idea how that works, but the transition time is extended, so that way you actually get to save more lives, and and give more opportunities to people who actually need organs or that sort of stuff. Well, what is happening right now is after this drop, you are right on this level right here, which is, I think tomorrow we're going to be bouncing on the 235 SMA. That is an important level. Now, what I think is going to happen is that the sell-off is going to get exhausted sooner than later, which is a good thing. This indicator right here, the RSI, is going to be absolutely oversold. I do believe, just like what I said on ENPH, there is going to be an opportunity to buy here. I might get into this. I would probably buy calls. I don't know the price of the calls, but I probably would buy calls for February or March, just to be on the safe side, because the sell-off could continue for a few more days. But I think that there is going to be a rebound on this. But just be careful. I wouldn't jump tomorrow into buying this early on in the morning or anything. You want to see how the candles are looking like. You want to see the behavior of buyers and sellers and supply and demand, and how is that working. And maybe at that point, then you can make a decision, an educated decision, and decide to enter, or decide to stay on the sidelines until this actually gets a little bit more stable. And that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait for this stock to get more stable in the next few days, and probably jump back in. Now, you want to see if there was, look, they had a miss right here back in August of last year, and it took them a long time to the next report to actually come back. So be careful on this. You still have a gap right here, which is already, now you have an additional gap. So you have two gaps of liquidity here. There's basically nothing going on here. So the rebound could be very juicy, but also the continuation of the move is something that to keep in mind. Anyways, they are getting beat up right now, 22.5% to the downside. But again, this type of reactions always have a a comeback. The thing is the timing. You have to think about it, especially if you're trading options. You know, if you're trading shares, maybe you can start getting get a position, and the stock will be relatively cheap, in my opinion. Anyways, also you had a very nasty downside since September, which is not a good thing. And now, you know, to make things even worse, you are down 22.5%. Anyways, I like this. I like what I do, you know, so I have that type of bias, I guess. Anyways, let's take a look at what's going on with Tesla. And sorry, I'm taking a quick note. We went over this resistance level again yesterday. Today. This is 265. So you had a good start of the day. I'm just reading this candle, and then you closed obviously under support. Now you have resistance again at 265. We'll see what happens. Don't be surprised and you continue going down towards 234. I'm just gonna say that. Or you continue going down towards the 235 SMA level. Don't be surprised of that. Once you have moves like this, like here you were up 22%, the next day you were up 3.3%. Don't be surprised, and this is going to level up to in a way that you're gonna see a little bit of a sell-off or profit taking, and then you continue going up, which would be the best scenario. But anyways, Tesla is still looking super interesting. I think that the market is liking Tesla. I think if Trump wins, Tesla is gonna fly. Simple like that. I mentioned this yesterday or on my last video. I think if Kamala wins, it might get sticky for Tesla and anything related to Elon Musk. The Democrats just don't like the guy. But putting that aside, I do think that we might see, at least until November the 10th. No, when are elections? November 5th or whatever. At least until elections, you might see a little bit of a sell-off. If Trump wins, bada bing, bada boom, you go back up to 265 and continue going towards higher levels, which is 280, right under this level right here. Looking interesting, but again, I do believe that we might see a little more weakness. You were after hours, you're down almost 1%, so you are right here, this level right here, after hours at 260. So yeah, don't be surprised if you see a continuation to the downside towards 230, 235, 234. That's what I think is very possible. All right, let's move on to the next name, and that would be, I just want to take a look at XLF, and I like looking at this when I see JP Morgan and Citi had a pretty decent day, I believe. I didn't check Bank of America today, but JP Morgan, sorry, but now that I'm talking about it, I want to see if they broke resistance. But looks like XLF is trying to continuation to the upside, but yeah, 1.5% for JP Morgan. No, still didn't break resistance, which is this level right here. I'm gonna tell you again, levels work. They give you a good indication. They're not gonna tell you how to trade, but it's definitely a pretty solid indication of what is going on supply and resistance. You had this beautiful level right here, broke, went up. Now I think we can totally rebound on this area right here. For now, this is not tradable for me. I would probably jump into JP Morgan before I get into this if we break resistance with JP Morgan. But again, this is still a little bit bearish. Let's see what is the behavior on this trend line if actually goes down to this, or let's see if there's a continuation to the upside. I just wanted to take a look at XLF, and let's mention now XLI, and this is looking a little precarious, to be honest. MACD and TSI definitely going now down with a lot of divergence forming in them. RSI is pointing up, which is a good thing, which tells you that during the day you actually came back. A little, no, it was an absolute chop. But anyways, you are at support, right under support, I guess, which is 135. We'll see what is the behavior here on this support level or resistance at this point right now, and how we behave on the 35 SMA. I do believe that we're probably going to continue going down towards the 35 SMA. You break the 35 SMA, and even though we're seeing earnings here and there, but I think if we break the 35 SMA, you're going straight down to 131. So keep in mind these two levels right now, and that 35 SMA I think is critical. If we break the 35 SMA to the downside, you're going straight to 131. And if you're able to mount this level again, which is 135, then you are on a safer, on a safe spot, I guess, because there's also low liquidity in this area as well. So you might see a continuation to the upside. This is also 100% dependent on what is going on on this sector. But again, if we break under the 35 SMA, you are definitely, there's lack of liquidity. You can go under 131 and maybe beyond that. We'll see that after. Anyways, that's all you have for you guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.